If people don't look at what is happening, Donald Trump can't win a general election. The RNC is broke. He has spent $60 million of his own campaign contributions on legal fees. Now he's going to start draining it out of the RNC. How in the...
Continue monitoring the president's remarks, and I mean no offense to him or some of you might want to continue hearing, but I did have to say that even though the former president is entitled to his opinions, he's not entitled to his own set of facts. The market has indeed been going up, but having nothing to do with him and everything to do with this aggressive cut in interest rates, or just a hiking in interest rates that stabilized inflation, and of course the whole artificial intelligence phenomenon that has benefited NVIDIA and a host of companies that are making money hand over fist. So that, whether you want to give Biden credit for that, has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Furthermore, he mentioned about gas prices out of whack, $6 a gallon. The national average right now is $3.26 cents a gallon. He went on to talk about the 2020 election and how that was rigged. This has been adjudicated many, many times, dozens of times. It's been investigated by everyone and his uncle. No fewer than 44 investigations launched, some of them by judges that were picked by Donald Trump himself that found.
But the more this government does, the worse it is for the American people. We shouldn't be joining hands with Democrats just to show we can govern or we can get things done, no matter how harmful to the American people.
Even if that leads to a partial government shutdown.
Well, the government shutdown is not ideal, but it's not the worst thing. It would be worse to exacerbate the problem, to further increase our debt and our spending, to make our fiscal situation, which is unprecedented as it is, as you know, to continue to fund a government that's facilitating the border invasion. Why would we give Biden and Mayorkas billions and billions of dollars to keep doing this to the American people? The only leverage we have when we have one house of one branch is to be willing to say no, to be willing to...
What about the right of people that want to start a family? And think about this, Jake, you know this, everybody knows this. You saw the stats, 65,000 births due to rapes since Dobbs in 14 states. Apparently, what the Republican Party is saying is the rapists have more rights to bring those babies to birth than families that are trying desperately to have the privilege you and I have had as fathers and parents. It is a disgrace, and it's a political problem for them, but it's a moral issue. And I found what happened in Alabama disgusting. And by the way, you have an AG in Alabama that also is out there promoting a travel ban that wants to criminalize travel for anyone that seeks an abortion out of state. That's how extreme the state of the Republican Party is.
Okay. I don't think many people buy that. Now, Governor Newsom also made probably his most repulsive and despicable comment this week when he said Republicans give rapists more rights than families to trying to get in vitro fertilization, IVF. By the way, we're going to deal with that later in the week. Now,
it is also true that Democrats have mastered the art form of hammering that message to a specific demographic of female voters aggressively, relentlessly, with hundreds of millions of dollars in spend, and then sending workers, union workers, to their house.
Well, Chairman Comer, your Democrat colleagues are mocking the investigation. You know that. They say it's all Russian disinformation. So give us your take on Mr. Smirnov now being indicted. And saying that a Russian passed on the story. And I also want to get your take on this latest information that you have gotten from Mr. Galanis, who is still in prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all we knew about Smirnov was the 1023 allegation. We knew from FBI sources that the FBI had never investigated it. And all we knew was what Christopher Wray told us, that this informant was one of their most trusted and highest paid in the Bureau, and he had been in that position for over 10 years. So that's all we knew about him. He wasn't an important part of the case, but it was a tip that we should investigate. We are not going to leave any stone unturned. We're going to investigate every allegation of Biden influence peddling. With respect to Galanis,
it's very clear that Smirnov was working with Russian intelligence by his own admission. And the Republicans were so eager to put this out there just to beat up Joe Biden in furtherance of never accepting him as president. So we do want to know, what notice did you have of his lack of credibility? When did you learn that he was not a credible witness. And why would you continue to do this? Because now if you look at who they've relied upon in their investigation, they have someone who was indicted for working essentially as a Chinese agent. They have someone who's been indicted for working essentially as a Russian agent. They have another witness who is serving a 14-year prison sentence. He's currently imprisoned. So they're just relying on the least credible people because they never will accept Biden as president. And so anything that furthers delegitimizing Biden, even if it means aligning with Russia, they're all in to do that.
So I start off, and I want to ask you, the point of that segment and what Caitlin was trying to do there was to get a Republican to admit that this entire thing about Joe Biden is just a ruse. You played into that pretty effectively. I want to ask you why you did that.
Well, Rob, I didn't play into anything. She asked me about a particular allegation that was made that Smirnoff made that Joe Biden received $5 million. That particular allegation is not credible at this point in time. So there is no evidence that Joe Biden received money. When Senator Johnson talks about the Biden crime family and talks about the Don of the Biden crime family, you have to have evidence that Joe Biden received money or took some act specifically as a result of Hunter Biden receiving money from these various countries.
Let me just
no
cut in real
doubt
quick.
Hunter Biden did receive that money.
Let me
So this is coming at a critical moment for the Republicans' impeachment inquiry. And on Capitol Hill, a lot of Republican lawmakers say they have seen zero evidence of high crimes and misdemeanors. And right now, the Republicans do not have enough votes to impeach. And after dozens of interviews and over 100,000 documents released to the committees, the Republicans have yet to produce any direct evidence of misconduct by Joe Biden.
But use every single point of leverage, every single point, Maria, including the spending and certainly including an address.
Well, let me ask you about your state. Texas has one of the strictest anti-abortion laws in the country. Are you saying that families in Texas who are using IVF have extra embryos that are frozen, do not need to worry?
Well, so you raise fact questions that are complex that I simply don't know the answer to. Let me give you a couple of examples, and that is, I have no idea mathematically the number of frozen embryos. Is it 1, 10, 100, 1,000? Things like that matter.
But one of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on to life's next chapter. So I stand before you today, Mr. President, and my colleagues, to say this will be my last term as Republican leader of the Senate. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. However, I'll complete my job my colleagues have given me until we select a new leader in November and they take the helm next January.
Do you enjoy playing around with the dark brand meme?
No, I resent the hell out of it.
Okay.
The president puts his sunglasses on, and everybody starts clapping.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've seen people put their sunglasses on. I've never clapped. I've never laughed. What's so funny about a man putting his sunglasses on? And then he's asked if you know, what the difference between him and Donald Trump is, and he starts talking about all that he's accomplished.
Do you think it's responsible for Democrats to put him at the top of the ticket, given those concerns?
Responsible. I revere his record. I mean, what he's done in 3 years has been a masterclass, close to 15 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The economy is booming. Inflation is cooling. It's 0.6% more than it was in the summer of 2020 at just 3.1%. Wait a second. We have American manufacturing coming back home, all because of Biden's wisdom, because of his temperance, his capacity to lead in a bipartisan manner, which is an underrepresented point. And so I have great confidence moving forward. So the answer is absolutely all in terms of the next 4 years.
And thanks to the law enforcement and community leaders here today who have helped bring down violent crime rates in their cities to historic lows. That's right. We're about to talk about what's going to happen now. You know, you just heard from the chief, and the salute these cities are making historic progress here. Last year, the United States had one of the lowest rates of all violent crimes in more than 50 years. Murder, rape, aggravated assault, robbery all dropped sharply, along with burglary, property crime, and theft. And it matters